Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's safe and sound and taking whatever precautions necessary in order to stay away from the virus. Do stay healthy and keep your family members safe as well. Welcome to the second episode of Pickmybrains, where I interview fellow musicians from the heavy metal scene. Today, we have a very special guest, Lena Scissorhands from the band Infected Rain.
Somebody finally gets to ask some questions that are more like hidden and information that is normally just shared between musicians, and it's good to bring that up to people because, nowadays with all these possibilities to do things from home and to be a musician and just be at home, even if you're doing it for the passion and you actually have a completely different career in your life, it's still nice to watch an interview like that and have some thoughts and ideas about how musicians do their thing, So thank you so much for doing that. And, not many people get to interview the other members of the band. I don't know why.
I think they get not enough love, they should get a
Well,
bit more love.
that's
So
the whole thing. They are not really even very eager to participate to interviews usually. Whenever, trust me, whenever there's like interview and people are like, it would be nice if the whole band could be here, and I'm like, I'm sorry, that's not possible. And then they're like, okay, well, at least some other members of the band. And I go in the backstage and I was like, guys, can somebody go with me? And they're like, nope.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh well, yeah, I'm happy you enjoyed what we did there. Okay, well, how's it going generally? Like, how are you coping with this whole coronavirus situation now?
Well, it goes in waves, ups and downs, I'll be honest. For me, my lifestyle didn't change much for now because I do the majority of work from home. So everything I do for my YouTube channel, for my Patreon, for the social media of the band and mine was always connected to the computer work and everything that I can do by myself. So I never really needed to go in an office or things like that, right? Now, the only thing is we are going to announce this next week, but we are losing our United States tour, which is very, very sad because we worked so hard to be here, and we worked so hard to finally tour the US. And our fans, they know how much we wanted this and how long it took us to do this. So we are not fully canceling it. Obviously, we are going to try to reschedule it either for the end of the year or for next year. And I know the world is going to understand, but it's very sad and depressing that, we need to do that. Now, there are no ways around it for many reasons. First reason is the American embassy was closed for a while, and my musicians do not even have a United States visa yet. Although we started the process from the beginning of the year, it's just a very long process, which is also one of the main reasons why we couldn't play here before. Secondly, even if everybody had visas and even if the borders were open, which they are not, and we don't know for how long they're going to be closed with Europe. But even if all that worked out well, I'm afraid a lot of people would be still afraid to go out in public, even if they still have tickets.
Yeah.
So it's smarter to just wait a little bit, take a step back, and wait a little bit with this. Now, my only concern is obviously for this to finish as soon as possible, so we can, still have our summer tour, which is a tour that we actually announced a few weeks ago, and it's a huge tour. It's probably the biggest tour we ever did, with more than I think 55 shows. It's a really, really big tour. It has somewhere around 15 festivals, and everything else is club shows. So it's a really, really huge tour that we wanted to do, and we are hoping that that is not going to jeopardize our, summer plans. Obviously, we have plans for the end of the year as well, plans that were never announced yet, and I'm going to keep them to myself for now because I don't want to break anybody's hearts.
Yeah.
But stuff that was already announced, this is the situation, right? So that makes me very sad. That being said, I think the majority, the bigger amount of stress that I have at the moment is because of Italy. It's not a secret for the world that my whole family lives in Italy, actually in northern Italy, where it's probably the most dangerous place to be at the moment. And, I talk to them every day. Nobody's sick or anything, but the situation is pretty sad, and I'm trying my best to stay strong and to encourage them to be strong. And, my mother, she's a nurse, so she still goes to work every day. Yes, my stepdad, he is a truck driver. So he still drives around supplies to markets and stuff like that. So they both work. My sisters, they stay home, and luckily they had jobs that allow them to work from home, so they did not lose their job, which is nice. But still, it's dangerous to be outside. It's dangerous to go to the store. You gotta stay home, and not many people do well staying home. As I said, I'm pretty okay with staying home. I'm pretty self-disciplined, and I work out from home, and I love cooking. I love watching movies, reading books, and working from home was never a problem for me. I definitely miss going out, like in the nature. For a while I was doing that, but it's been 3 days, I think, since I completely lock myself in, and the only fresh air I have is in my backyard when I take Luna out, my dog.
Yeah.
That is the only thing that I already feel that I'm missing. And it's weird because I didn't really go hiking that often, but a few times a week or once a week, but just the idea that in your head that you're not allowed, it's this weird pressure and weird negativity that hovers around you, and you have to deal with it. And you have to deal with it nicely, because it can get depressing. So this is how I'm dealing with it.
Yeah. Well, first of all the love goes out to your family in Italy. It's so terrible, but then there's nothing much that the world can do except for wait out and obviously wait for a cure. And it's actually good news that China has actually sent a bunch of specialists over to Italy, because they seem to have coped with the situation quite well. It was really crazy there in China, and and they seem to have dealt with it quite well. Even my business partners in China, they're like back to work, and life's like literally back to normal now.
And I know everything is going to be all right. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So, but time depends on people, because unfortunately, I still see people doing so many mistakes. Like, unfortunately, I gotta say, and I hope you are watching this, if you're doing that, you're very bad, and you're bad not only for yourself, but for everybody around you. Like, I've seen pictures of beaches that are like overcrowded because people take this as a vacation. I cannot believe how big the humanity's stupidity is. I understand that certain countries are more dangerous than others, and you would say, it's okay here or it's okay there. Yes and no. Like, we are seeing businesses shutting down, and we are seeing like schools shutting down and all that. All you have to do is just follow this. And if everybody would follow rules, I feel like this could, finish faster,
Yeah, definitely.
way faster. But unfortunately, this is what it is. People are very just, I don't know.
Silly. It's silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all down to enforcement as well. I mean, you know that I recently flew back to my country. That's why we had to delay this call. So I'm actually in Malaysia now. And what we've done is that obviously we've restricted everyone to just their homes, and the police actually go out there to make sure that people stay at home.
Yeah, the patrol, yes,
Yeah,
that's happening in Italy and some other countries, and I think it should everywhere,
yeah,
because otherwise people are just, I don't know. Like, I get it, you can stay home too much, but don't take this as a vacation. Don't take
yeah,
this as a good opportunity to visit your family or to visit your loved ones. I Trust me, I understand it can get really lonely, especially if you live alone and you don't have, you know, a husband or a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or family that lives with you. It can get really, really sad sometimes. I know, because this is my situation, but this can be temporary if we stay put. But
yeah.
I would say let's talk about something else, because
That's more positive.
more because I feel like, a lot of people go through this, and it's already sad enough to see what's happening in the world, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it is a bit sad, but I mean, I think if people look at this as an opportunity to be united and to, really see how every single one of us can actually make a difference by just doing our part, then, hopefully in the future, people actually realize, the power of unity.
Absolutely. In fact, it gave me a good idea and opportunity to actually film an episode for my YouTube channel, in which I will just share with people what I am doing while isolated. And maybe that can inspire somebody else to be like, oh, I didn't know I could do this, or something. Because I've been practicing some interesting stuff here and there, and I feel like it's a good idea to like fight with the loneliness. So
Well, thank goodness you have Luna.
yeah, cuddles with Luna all day long.
Oh, she must be so happy.
I know, right?
Oh my goodness. Well, okay. Well, times are difficult. Let's just hope everyone, does what's necessary in order to stay healthy themselves, and to also, stop spreading it to other people. They have to think about other people as well. Okay. Well, like what you said, maybe let's talk about something happier then.
Yeah,
Yeah, so first of all, I mean, nice earrings, by the way, sick
thank you.
earrings.
Thank you. These are very special. They are a gift from a very good friend of mine, and they are made from a vinyl.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, and a vinyl album. Uh,
Wow.
yeah,
It's so
very, very
cool.
beautiful.
It's so cool. I mean, I would wear them if I'm a girl, but then they're just a bit too big for me. Well, yeah, so thank you so much for, taking the time out to do this with me, and I really appreciate it. And the fact that, the call with Vidic went so well made me even more eager to do this one with you, because there was a lot of love from your fans, and they were like, whoa, I mean, I received messages saying, oh, thank you for doing this. And obviously, like what you said, it's not every day when people get to see Vidic talk about,
Yeah, or
his
other
thoughts.
musicians, right? Or
Yeah,
other musicians. As I mentioned before, I really encourage all the musicians in general to always be part of like interviews, or at least be there, because very often you get to know something really interesting, and you get to answer some questions that are like always there, and like the vocalist doesn't know the answer, like at least in cases like mine, where the vocalist is only doing vocals and doesn't play any other instrument, right?
yeah.
So thank you for doing that, and hopefully maybe you can interview my drummer or something.
Yeah.
His English is way, you know, smaller, how we like to call it.
Uh,
But he understands a lot, so maybe he can, do
yeah,
something like that. Who knows?
I don't
He's a
see why not. I don't see why not.
yeah.
Yeah, like when I asked you if you were happy to do this, I was like thinking, oh, do I now need to go to like Vladimir, Eugene, Sergey? And I was like, oh no. And then
You could try. Who
uh,
knows? Maybe we're gonna be surprised how, you know, happy they are gonna be to do that. Who knows?
yeah, maybe after seeing Vedic, they were like, okay, we want to do that as well. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, we'll take it a step at a time. Well, okay, let's start with, maybe an icebreaker question. Oh, well, this is so excuse me for my ignorance. I'm sure you've answered this a million times, but for those like myself who do not know, why bananas and not any other fruit?
Well, bananas was born mainly because of the slang meaning of going bananas or something is bananas, right? For those
Mhm.
who don't know, you guys can Google that. It just means going crazy.
Crazy.
Something is crazy. I love it. I love little um, word games like that and little combination of words that are so interesting, like 86, for example. It has an actual meaning, and I know a lot of people were like, is that the year you were born? But
Yeah.
also it has an amazing meaning behind it, and that's why we chose it. It was perfect for the concept of the album. But in this case with bananas, when I was doing some pictures to promote my YouTube channel in the very beginning, and I was just doing it at home, because I wanted to look very nice and cozy, and I had my basket of fruit behind me, and bananas were hanging out over there, and that made me think about it. It made me think about how cool this combination of words would be. So my life is pretty chaotic and crazy, and I feel like it's a perfect definition of what I'm sharing on that YouTube channel, because I literally try to include everything about me, my art, my music, my band, the touring, my the stuff that I make me happy, the stuff that make me sad even. I'm trying to be myself as much as possible. And when I was encouraged for so long to do this, it's been years that people will continuously tell me, you should do that, you should do that, because a lot of people were becoming bloggers, and a lot of people were becoming very active on YouTube, and I always thought that maybe I'm not that interesting. I don't know if I'm going to be having enough information for people for how long, and if I can keep this, um, keep it always interesting. And only when like Vidic supported that so much, and he's like, I'll help you do the videos and stuff like that, and because we can't keep up with our Infected Rain YouTube channel, let's just do you a separate one. So because I got encouraged by him and I have so much help by him, I was like, okay, well, let's do it then, and it was perfect. It was I think it describes well my lifestyle. It is bananas. It is.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's very good information. I mean, like, I'm happy to like finally find out after watching so many of your videos. And it's funny like that you should say that you're worried that you wouldn't have enough content so that, like, actually make videos. But I think now take it as a compliment. Like, even now at the level you're at, even if you were to make a video of you folding your blanket, people were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm watching, Elena like folding her bed." Yeah,
Oh,
and
thank you so much. Well,
yeah,
thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, and I believe that. Yeah, I mean, you could try it out if you don't believe me, and then like people will just watch it, and then and it's just amazing. Like,
Well,
I
if I
think.
ever try to do that, I'll give you credit for sure.
Oh, thank you. Please do. And I hope to be one of the first to watch that one as well.
Yeah.
It'll be hilarious. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah. So back to, the questions that I was about to ask. And so the strategy was to kind of talk more about you as an individual, as Elena, that people well know. And then obviously after that, talk to you, ask you some questions about your relationship with Infected Rain. So the next question is, and one of the things that you're, very well known for, is your tattoos. So, like, I think if people know you, they probably know, like, even if they don't know the full name, they may know Lena Scissorhands, and then they're like, that's the girl with the tattoos, you know.
Yeah.
So, so I, obviously it's obvious that you have many pieces of art on you. Could you share a bit about which ones are your favorite? I mean, you don't have to show them, but then like can
Yeah.
you share like your favorite ones?
Mm-hmm. I do have a video on my YouTube channel about my tattoos, and
Hmm.
I encourage you to go click on that one. I speak about my tattoos a little bit more detailed, but obviously I have some favorites, and I love all my tattoos. I consider myself a collector of good art, if that makes sense. I've been tattooed by so many different artists, some from Europe, some from United States, and I am very proud to have their art on me. I have other ideas and thoughts, and I know people judge me for that. They're like, "Do you even have space?" I'll find space.
uh,
So
uh,
yeah, I do have some super favorites, like this one, for example, the Powerpuff Girls.
mhm.
I love it so much because it's a tattoo that connects me to my sisters. Growing up, we had to grow up kind of alone for a while because our parents were working hard and were never home. So uh, when we actually had possibility to have like different channels and everything, we had Cartoon Network.
Oh, that's the best.
It's best. And it's probably one of the reasons why I loved English so much, and our favorite was to watch Powerpuff Girls. And we pretended we were the Powerpuff Girls because we were three sisters. And since we were small, we chose which one is which one. And it was the day is saved thanks to the Powerpuff Girls. That was amazing.
Oh,
We would put capes on and turn the apartment upside down. It was crazy. But
oh.
later on, we decided to do the tattoos on us, and we all have it on pretty much the same spot. We did it from different artists, so I think that's one of my favorite. And also tattoos that are connected to my band. I have many tattoos that are connected to my band. Yeah, I have the 86. I have the cover of Embrace Eternity. I have Endorphin here.
Yeah, that's the
I,
latest one.
yeah,
Apart from the one, yeah.
I have the rain, love and rain over here, and yeah, I have like some phrases from the songs on me. I love those a lot. They remind me about my passion and my love for music, which came into my life very suddenly. I didn't grow up in a musical family or with musicians in the family. I never studied music as a kid and never knew how to play an instrument. I just had musicians friends. That's pretty much it. And I used to go watch them play at the local shows, and it just makes me happy to be part of this, and I will try my best to do it as long as I can.
Mhm.
That's, I guess, my favorites.
Oh, nice. Yeah, like the question is like, I always wonder what happens if you run out of space? What's gonna happen?
I don't know, who knows, maybe I'll try to go over some of them, and refresh them or transform them, who knows, for now I don't have that thought.
Well, you still got space here and there, so I
Yeah,
think you're
oh,
good for now.
a lot of
A
space on
lot of
my
space.
legs, and yeah.
Nice. Yeah, like I remember you were filming the entire process of you doing your chess piece,
Yeah.
and like the first thought I had, I was like, that must have fucking hurt so much.
Yes, actually,
Oh my goodness.
piece was pretty painful. Yeah.
And you did it in one sitting, didn't you? Like,
I did. Well, I didn't have really much choice because the artist that I was tattooed by, she's from Netherlands and she was visiting here just temporary. And literally that was the only day we could do it. So we both agreed that we're gonna work hard. And I'm gonna be honest with you, she has a very light hand and she was very nice to me, gave me breaks, and the way she tattoos is very interesting because very often you see tattoo artists um, going through their process in a different way. And the way she works is like she starts from one side and she basically like works on it until it's done and only then moves further. Now other artists, they work all over the place. They put one color everywhere and then another color everywhere, and they kind of work all over the place until the piece looks nice, which is also awesome. But then the whole area gets irritated faster and it gets swollen faster and the pain level is higher. So then in this type of procedure, you would need to probably do shorter sessions of 5 to 6 or 7 hours. Instead I did 11 hours.
Okay, but the pain is less.
I would say that helped me a lot. I would say that I think that helped me the most.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. Like I never thought of it that way because obviously, like you said, like every time an artist tattoos, he would like usually he or she would usually do the outlines and then after that work color by color and just go everywhere. And then it never occurred to me that it's quite true that actually swells up the entire surface.
Absolutely.
And then when they go back,
good and bad, because sometimes our body reacts and it kind of protects us, and after a while you don't feel the pain like in the beginning so much, and it's in a way some sort of protection that we have. I don't know if it's adrenaline or what, but like our body temperature goes a little bit higher and it feels like you can do it, but then obviously for a short time, and then after hours you're like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
yeah, I think there's a certain point where your body is just going to tell you, I've had enough today,
Yeah, correct.
But still 11 hours is crazy, and I mean, I can't imagine how I would be able
I
to
don't know, I'm pretty shocked myself. The longest I stayed before was 9 hours. I did some sessions of 9 hours before, but mainly I think 7 hours is when you have to kind of try to stop around 7 hours and just come back after a few weeks, and do it again. Don't, you can, of course, obviously if you travel or the artist is traveling, you can't, but if you can, you should do that. It's less damage to your skin, the healing process is more gentle, and also for the artist is sometimes better because he can look and be like, okay, I want to go back in here, I would add this and this, even for the artist it's a little bit better. I have a lot of tattoo artist friends and I hear that all the time. The most stressful for them is to actually put so many hours, because hey, it's a difficult job, they're just sitting all day, and they do what they love, but some positions and everything, it's not that easy, and you don't want a tired tattoo artist to continue your art. So a little balance between how much you can handle and a normal human hours, work hours, something like that. But that's obviously in a normal scenario. If you're traveling or the artist is traveling, it's more difficult.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you said, I mean, it's better if the artist gets to take a step back and then after that come back after a certain amount of time, because they actually see things that they didn't see before, because obviously with a long sitting, they're like blinded. They may actually be blinded and then they don't see certain things anymore. Yeah, so I mean, the next session they'll be like, oh, actually, I didn't see that, and then it just gets better, So, like you said, if you have that privilege, then it's just better to do it in multiple sittings if possible. Well, that's interesting to know, and huge respect to you for having that much courage, because I mean, I would like humbly admit that I wouldn't have that kind of courage to
That's
sit through
okay.
11 hours. It's terrible, I think. I mean, I can't. I literally can't. When I saw your video, like, of your chest piece, I was like, oh, my legs were literally like clenching like that. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, wow, bravo, Elena.
Thank you.
Oh, bravo. Okay. Well, so okay, the next question I wanted, like, thank you so much for sharing about, your tattoos. So the next question is that obviously every fan of yours knows that you are vegan. So can you share? I mean, I'm sure you shared before. You don't have to go into too much detail, but just for people who haven't watched the other videos, can you share what sort of difference it makes to you as an artist, as a model? Like, how did, becoming vegan change all of that? Did it like bring you to another level, or did?
Honestly, okay, so the reason I decided to change my diet into vegan was to do this experiment and see how I will feel and how much energy I'm going to have. And, I just wanted to do an experiment. So I cleaned my body before I fully like did this transition, and it worked for me right away. So I did it basically a little bit before a tour. And then on tour, I was afraid, very much that it's going to be more difficult, but it was actually very easy. I used to always get a cold or something or a food poisoning on tour every time, at least once. And since I changed into veganism, I never had problems like that.
Mhm.
Very rare I get like a cold, and if I ever do, it's usually super fast for me, 2 or 3 days, because I feel like my immune system went up so much. I am not just eating vegan, I try to eat very clean as well, because you can be vegan and still eat junk food.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. I'm not gonna lie, I do like cookies and some chips sometimes myself, or pizza, or stuff like that. But I just try, especially if I have the opportunity to choose or to cook it myself, I try to go with more organic stuff, and less uh, less things that can damage your immune system. Now that helped me a lot. I saw a big difference. I have a way more energy. I can sleep less, and I have so much energy to exercise and actually go on a stage and have a set for an hour and a half every day. And I feel like that is the biggest difference I saw, because being on tour is not easy. It doesn't matter if you're a girl or a boy, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter for how long you go on tour. It's just difficult.
Mhm.
Now, if you are a vocalist, you have to take extra precaution, because if you have fever or sore throat, you basically you're going to fail on the stage. If you're a guitar player or a drummer, you can still play your instrument.
Yeah.
And that's why, as a vocalist, I felt like I wanted to be better, I wanted to be healthier, I wanted to try, because if it was up to me, I would be on tour every day of my life. You know, literally. Like, I don't even like love days off as much during the tour. But obviously, in order to do that, you have to have enough energy, because not only the traveling is very difficult, you eat different food, you're exposed to different temperature and different climate. Now you sweat on the stage, and then you go in a backstage and there's air conditioner. Then you go out and you talk to the fans, somebody coughs in your face.
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is your immune system has to be up all the time. You have to take care of yourself. Always, but especially when you have such a lifestyle, right? So in my case, especially because as I said, I used to always go through some colds or some food poisonings before, and just sucks, because then your brain is like, keep it together, but your body's like, I can't. And so yeah, you have to do something. You have to try your best to be better for yourself and for your fans if that's what you decided to do. Now, if you're not a musician or you're not an traveling artist, I feel like that's also very awesome because it gives you literally a ton of energy to go through your everyday um, errands and every day, like your job, the stuff you do at home. If you have a family, it gives you energy to actually play with your kids and go out and do things and not just be a miserable, tired piece of meat that unfortunately the majority of our society is.
Yeah.
And yes, it definitely changed my life to the best. I love it. I love it very much, and I'm never going to be back to eating what's called normal food. I can't say that I have a vegan lifestyle, unfortunately. I still have some clothing and some shoes and whatever that has leather, the older stuff. I obviously try to avoid on buying anything like that. The only big exception that I do sometimes is honey. I do exception for honey, because I know vegan, like true vegan people, they don't eat honey. But everything else, yeah, I consider myself a vegan eater. But I try to be better for the planet in general, not only for animals. Um, so that changed my life and my point of view on many things as well. And you know what? I will be honest with you. I started noticing how much I get attracted to people that have the same type of compassion for animals or the planet in general. Because believe it or not, like if anybody was to ask me what is the first thing you notice in a person or what excites you when you meet a new person, doesn't matter a woman or a man or with like the ideas like to be friends or something more, it's just being disciplined. I feel like there's not enough disciplined people in the world, unfortunately. And meeting a disciplined person that has goals and that knows what it's doing, and it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't ever judge anybody that is not vegan. Absolutely, never. Like the only family member that is vegan is my sister. The only band member that is vegan is Vidic. So I'm not really surrounded by vegan people. Little by little, I apparently I inspired some people and friends to change their diet as well. I have some that are thanking me every day, although I never push anybody. I just, if they ask me, I will answer and I will share gladly what I'm doing. But I'm never, I never was that pushy type of vegan, and I don't encourage that because, for me, it feels like religion. When religion is pushed on you, you're going to hate it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But the majority of people that became religious, they came to it by themselves. They decided to go deeper into that and they like it and they feel like their life changed because of that. This is pretty much for me, My life changed a lot since I became vegan, and it's been almost 4 years. I wish I started earlier, but it's better later than never, right?
Yeah, it's actually it's always better late than never, even if it's just for one day, it's still an achievement. And I mean, have you watched this show called Game Changers?
Yes.
Oh, it's an amazing show, and like I think that was the show that kind of encouraged me to um to stop eating. I mean, I'm in this phase where I'm transitioning into having more vegetables. So, and like, to be honest, I don't know if it's psychological or not, but then I don't feel a loss of energy even though I'm not eating meat. So that was something that kind of surprised me. So
Well, it's not surprising. I will tell you why. Because our body uses way more energy to digest meat than to digest fruit or vegetables. So that's the main reason why we feel more energy. And you will also find out that quantity wise, it feels like you eat more, but honestly, like you digest faster. And the whole system works all the time nonstop because everything you eat is natural. Now, by eating, I'm not saying that, now you shouldn't. Like, yes, I shouldn't, and if you have a little bit of knowledge about how the body works and what are the vitamins and everything that you need, you will understand that actually you can find that in other legumes and in other like vegetables, and you're not really, you don't really need the meat. But
Yeah.
again, as I said, I'm not here to preach, and it's just a known fact. You need like minimum 2 hours to digest a steak. So
Yeah, it's just like in the show Game Changers, there was this one line that was so strong, that was how do you, I mean, people always refer to the ox as a symbol of strength, and then like the weightlifter actually said, have you ever seen an ox eat meat?
yeah.
So that was a really strong, simple but very strong line, and then I was like, yeah, actually that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you don't see ox eating other animals, do you?
Nope.
And I mean, for those, again, we're not here to preach, we're just here to share. And
Yeah.
if someone's curious, I mean, personally, I would really encourage someone to at least try
Yeah.
and to actually
Give your body
feel.
a break and try that, especially in the season of fruit and vegetables. Why not?
Yeah, it will definitely be useful, actually. Well, okay. So you mentioned, being a vocalist, it's difficult on tour, and we would imagine, I mean, we all know for a fact that, not to say that the other band members have an easier life, but it is actually a bit more difficult for a vocalist, in a sense that you have to take care of your voice, because if you lose that, there goes your tour, there goes your show. And like you said, for the other members, they could force their way through a show because they don't have to say anything, they can still play. I mean, they may not feel as energetic, but for a vocalist, when you're weak, when your vocal cords are damaged, and if you're sick, I mean, there's no way you can sing,
Yeah.
and that kind of leads me to one of the questions that I've always had for you, because I know that in the past, when you started as a vocalist, you had no formal training, and then you were just screaming your life out of your throat, and then obviously, I think you mentioned before that you actually got you hurt your throat and things like that during shows, and obviously that changed when you met Melissa Cross. So can you share, like, what was it? I mean, what happened between you and Melissa Cross that completely changed the
Yeah.
way you perform on stage, and how that brought you to the next level as a vocalist?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, before knowing about Melissa, I did some personal lessons at a university of music. Just I had a teacher giving me the basics, teaching me how to breathe correctly, and we would just do warm-ups. I would go there 3 times a week, and I did that for almost 3 years. Now, that was never really enough for me because she was a classic vocal teacher, and she didn't really know what else I need in order to perform that type of music, right? And little by little, I was getting better and better, obviously, but still, it was not enough. And when I was sharing the fact that I would hurt myself, I did not know at the time. I came to know that a little bit later, thanks to Melissa Cross. But I find out that it was not so much the technique I was using to sing, it was more the me being unable to control my emotions. Now, being a vocalist very often goes very close like this with all the emotions and everything you go through, especially if you're the one writing your own lyrics and you're the one writing your own melody for the songs. So, which is in my case, right? And the stuff I choose to sing about very often has a lot of frustration behind it, and a lot of emotions and a lot of memories that till these days can bring tears to my eyes, and and sleepless nights. Now, the fact that I chose to sing about them and to share them with the world is because I know a lot of people can relate, and I know a lot of people go through similar stuff or even worse. So I knew I had to talk about it, and I had to let it out. And in a way that helped me also, it's like my own therapy sessions, right? So I loved it. I loved it very much, and I never wanted to give that up. And I think that's the main reason why I'm on the stage. Now, I realized later on, though, with Melissa, that there is a way to still deliver that, to still feel that, but not damage yourself. Now, obviously, before I met her, I came across her DVDs. She has DVDs, and she has a lot of videos on YouTube, and I discovered that a lot of musicians and vocalists, especially of bands I listen to, try to have at least one lesson with her, which was very encouraging because they were doing either the same type of music or way more brutal. And I knew that they are touring a lot, and that's definitely helping, right? Now, in 2013, when I was visiting United States for the first time, I had the opportunity to actually visit New York and stay with a friend. And I found out that her studio is in New York City. And obviously, I tried my luck, and I called to have an appointment, which I never had an answer for like so long. And I was losing hope. And then I remember leaving another message and saying that I will only be in New York City for this amount of time. And if she will have time for me, that would be like the best, because I don't live in the United States, and I'm going to leave after that. And I got an answer. After a few days, her helper called me back, and we made an appointment. And I felt so lucky to. She was iconic person for me at the time. She still is, and I couldn't believe my luck. And I remember spending the whole day in her studio, although I was only planning to be there for an hour, because especially at the time I couldn't afford to pay for more. But she just didn't care. She was so friendly and so nice to me right away. We connected immediately. And we spent, 5 hours together that day. That one day, I remember talking to her so much and working with her so much that one day. And it gave me so much courage and so much knowledge in just one day that I was like, I'm definitely going to continue either through online lessons or, if I ever come back, I will. And she was nice enough to give me her personal phone number. And she told me, if you ever have any type of problems on tour or before tour, give me a call and we will talk about it.
Oh, that's so sweet.
She is the sweetest person on earth, and I cannot believe how lucky I am to know her as a person and to have her as a teacher and as a mentor. I consider Melissa Cross my mentor because she helped me to go through so much. And she's so encouraging. And trust me, she's not that kind of a person that will just say, good job, just because you're her student. We developed a different level of friendship between us. And, when I was going through very difficult times, she was there for me, because very often, you mentioned sickness and illness and sore throat and fever. That could be one of the problem for you to not be able to sing. But there is another one, which is the most common one and the most difficult to deal with. It's stress, frustration, and all the negativity that you go through life. Sometimes that can create a big stone in your throat. We all know about this stone. We all are familiar. We all know that sensation when you can't even swallow because of how nervous and frustrated and depressed you are. So unfortunately, I'm a very sensitive and emotional person, so I feel it all, right? And now I had like even the past year was terrible for me, probably the most difficult year in my life. And she was there for me. And I couldn't I was on tour while, you know, my life was changing and I had to talk to her. She was there for me, talking with me for hours. And I was like, I feel totally fine. I just feel this stone in my throat, and it's so difficult to go through the shows. It's difficult to step on the stage because it's there. I feel it like a big weight on my chest, and I cannot get rid of it no matter what I do. I try meditation, I tried everything. So I'm just sharing this just to make you understand and help you see how important it is to actually say it out loud and talk to people that love you and care for you. And she's one of them. And she was there for me and she helped me go through that summer tour. And she still is always there for me. And she sometimes DMs me. We send each other messages and I can call her anytime. I know she's going to be there for me. And I cannot wait to see her again. I hope this year I'll be able to. Yeah, I don't see her very often, unfortunately, because I live uh, in the other side of America. But whenever we see each other, we chat for a very long time. And, you know, she's very proud of Infected Rain. She's very proud of the um, progress I made as a musician, and she always makes sure to tell me that, which encourages me so much. Also, very often I get messages from her when she tells me that she has students that come over and they tell her that they want to sound like Lena from Infected Rain. And that makes man, I'm getting emotional. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. And I think that's the whole purpose of this talk. I mean, it's to get, personal. So then one of the main reasons for these interviews is for people to see who musicians are
Yeah.
when they're not on stage. And you are human beings after all. And obviously when people idolize you, they think you're gods and goddess, that you don't feel the pain that people usually do. And I mean, with what you've just shared, I think a lot of your fans would appreciate what you shared, and trust me, some would already be crying by now just by hearing that. And yeah, and on behalf of them, I'm sure that they wish you well. For those who didn't know that, last year was a difficult year for you, I'm sure you somehow know that your fans, whether they've sent you a message or not, I'm sure you know that they are there for you. So
I do. I feel that. I feel that every day, and probably if it wasn't for my fans and for the band supporters and for my family and friends, I would probably be lost because it was really, really dark times for me. I mean, I'm still dealing with that, but it's way better. I'm doing way better.
Well, that's life. Good times and bad times, they pass
Absolutely.
either way. I mean, nothing is forever. So I'm like, I'm no one to tell you this, but I'm very proud of, how you've progressed and how you've healed, through your difficult time. And I'm sure, your fans wish you well as well, and they want you to, and probably a lot of them are hoping, oh, the next album is going to be kick ass because, Elena's going through so much.
Yeah. I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you, the biggest part of all this is absolutely hands down my band members. And don't get me wrong, just like in all families, we get to fight a lot and like call each other names and be like, I hate you. But at the same time, they were there for me when I had panic attacks before going on the stage. They were there for me when I would lose my voice and be so frustrated and be like, I don't know how to sing anymore. I don't know how to deliver this. They were there to encourage me, and they were there to accept my lyric ideas, my vocal ideas for the songs, and they always love the results. And because of that, I'm always encouraged to do more. And I would, that's when I feel the happiest, is when I'm with my boys from Infected Rain, on the stage or in the studio. It doesn't matter.
I think a lot of it has to do with the connection you guys have, the relationship that you guys have built over the years. I mean, with Vidic, I mean, when I was talking to him, and then I mean, what I mentioned was that being 12 years together is tough. I mean, even many couples don't even last that long, you know.
Correct.
And being in a band, it's like being in a family. And I think the fact that you guys have been together for so long and still touring together, I think it really shows the connection you guys have between each other, the love you guys have established over time. And I think that is something that you can only do with time. It's not something that, it's like, 2 years and then we love each other. It takes a long time to establish that kind of connection. And I'm very, very happy to hear. I mean, I'm sure all of your fans will be very happy to hear that, the rest of the band were there for you. And I'm sure if any one of them were to go through the same thing, you would do exactly the same thing, if not more, And I'm sure that is the case. And yeah, I appreciate you being, opening up at such a personal level. Again, I'm sure this is something that your fans would appreciate knowing, and then some of them would still be crying from what you said early on up to this stage. And yeah, obviously I hope you feel better as well. So like you mentioned about, songwriting. So we know as fans that, you write from personal experience. May it be good, may it be bad, it's all from your past experience. So apart from your experience, which is very personal, are there any other places where you draw inspiration from? Or do the other band members also contribute to, the lyrical composition? Or is it just solely you and
lyric-wise, it's always been only me since the beginning. Melody-wise, on the first album, I was fully helped by the band members because I had no idea what I'm doing. Second album, it was like half and half. Let's say I had some ideas and they were, they were adding to them. And third and fourth album was fully my vocal ideas, music-wise. And obviously I go, the first person that goes with me through all that is Vidic, because we are the founders of the band and we have a very deep connection. We know each other for I don't even know, 17 years now. So he's my best friend, and I feel very lucky to have this amazingly talented person in the band, and I trust his tastes the most as well. But yeah, that's only melody wise, but lyric wise, it was always me. And I write for Infected Rain since the beginning. And I do mainly talk about my personal experience, past, present, or some future ideas. I have specific songs that remind me, or I get like inspired by specific people, negative or positive, it doesn't matter. Specific situations. Sometimes I get inspired by nature. Like for example, the song "Hovering" is very funny. That I just wrote, and it was there. I wrote on the very first day of huge snow one year. I woke up very early and I just sat next to the window and I was just mesmerized by this huge flakes of snow, and I just took my notebook and my pen and I wrote it down right away. And it became a song that I used for a collaboration with Sis on the Moon. But it's just one of those examples that I try to write all the time. I didn't even know I'm gonna ever use those lyrics ever. It was just a poem I wrote. That's it, you know. And but sometimes I get inspired by some ideas of movies or books, because I read a lot and I love movies. I'm a huge nerd, and sometimes like I'm like, dude, this idea is incredible, and I will write it down, and then somehow I will come back to that idea and develop it maybe into something, or maybe not even, you know. But I just like to pay attention. In general, I like to consider myself as a very awake person, and I pay attention to people, to nature, to situations, to at least I like to do that, and I try my best to do that, you know. So yeah, that's pretty much where I get inspired from.
I see. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I think it matters a lot. Like you mentioned that, you're a person that's awake and alert. You actually see things that happen around you or around the world. And I believe that plays such a crucial role to, anyone who's a vocalist, because I think lyric-wise, it's always people find it easier to connect if the lyrics are personal and it's more about reality. And I believe, and I bet, all my money on it when I say a lot of your fans, actually, they are drawn. Maybe they were not heavy metal fans before, but then they were drawn to your words and, how you put them in the song. And then all of a sudden they're like Infected Rain fans, and then all of a sudden they're into heavy music, I think that
I like to think that way as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important, because I think at the end of the day, you wouldn't want to be singing a bunch of gibberish that no one's able to connect to. And, there's, I mean, it's not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, you do have fun songs,
There's a listener for everything.
Yeah.
Like Kurt Cobain wrote in his song, there will be fans. You can shit up on the stage, there will be fans. I don't know if you know the song. Is an amazing song, and it's so true. It's sad but true. It is. Like we have examples of that every day with all the stuff that gets so popular, and you're like, really? Hi.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, there'll be fans.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just how diverse the world is. I mean, yeah, you get songs where you have no idea. It's just, about body parts, and like one body part, and the whole song is about that one body part. And not first, I think for a lot of heavy metal fans, I think they prefer something that's a bit more personal, that has to do with problems, or very sorrowful, melancholic moments in someone's life. And that's why you see some of your fans tattoo your lyrics on their skin, because they actually feel that message, and because quite likely because they've been through the same, or been in a similar situation. And I think that's one of the reasons why, apart from the awesome music, and I think that the lyrics is one of the reason why people find such a strong connection with Infected Rain, to be honest. And I mean, the words you write are very simple to understand, in a way that people can connect easily. They're not like overly fancy. There are certain people who write very abstract and very poetically.
Yeah,
but
which
yours,
is not wrong with that. I mean, I love that as well. But I some songs I feel like I do it a little bit. I use a lot of metaphors, and a lot of people are like, "What did you really mean with this song? Did you mean this, or did you mean this?" And I know it can be guessed differently sometimes, but most of the times I try to be simple enough for people to connect and for people to understand what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I think that's what's important, I think. Well, again, there's no right or wrong to this. I mean,
Absolutely.
poetry is beautiful, and some people appreciate it being ambiguous, like, it could be this, it could be this, it could be that, But
Absolutely.
in some people's cases, they want it to be very straightforward. They want people to connect immediately without thinking and
Hmm.
just connect emotionally.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's good to connect emotionally without having to think.
absolutely.
And and yeah, and amazing lyrics, by the way.
Thank you.
uh, and so yeah, so being a vocalist, so you've explained how you write, so you made it clear that you are the main person behind the words of Infected Rain. So then what is your usual process like? Well, Vidic shared, like, how he writes songs, like how he likes to track immediately,
Yep.
and then he doesn't, and also how he keeps his riffs, the riffs that he's written, into folders and BPMs and stuff. So is there a method that you use consistently, when it comes to Infected Rain?
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I find it easier to just follow this routine that I found for myself, and it may be super basic because, as I said, I don't have musical experience before Infected Rain, and I never studied music uh, before. So for me, I discovered that it's easier, especially when I started like creating melody. Sometimes I write a piece and I already have in mind how that could sound, um, like how technical that should be, or that should be a singing part, or more like a rap, faster going through,
Mhm.
like, so I record that on a just simple voice recorder on my phone just to keep it there so I don't forget. And when the time comes that I sit down and I choose the songs that go with which lyrics, um, emotional wise, and the atmosphere that connects the melody with the lyrics, I would be like, okay, well, yeah, this song is definitely more melancholic, and this lyrics could go well. Sometimes I modify the lyrics when I put them with the song. I either write more, add to it, or I lose some parts. And But mainly, when I'm ready to work on the songs, I sit down, usually alone. I prefer to be alone, and I just play chorus over and over again, and the piece I chose for the chorus, and I think about the melody, and I do it over and over again, and I record it on my, voice recorder again and again until I worked on the whole song, and only then I will listen to it again and make my other corrections. And then when I think I'm ready and I feel satisfied, as I said, the first person that gets to hear my ideas is Vidic. And then together with Vidic, sometimes we do little corrections here and there. As I said, I trust him and his taste in music so much that he can definitely shape it all up or tell me his opinion and be like, this is dumb. What did you do here? Like, this is so basic. Let's make it more interesting. Or then sometimes he's like, oh, wow, what? I didn't expect you to put this on my riff. He's like, hmm, that's interesting. So that's pretty much how we work when we come up with ideas for the vocal.
Okay, that's interesting. So then, it does that mean that Vidic and maybe Sergey and the rest of the band, do they write the music separately, and then you write your
Yeah,
lyrics, and then
we
you
always,
find ways to
yeah.
bridge the
I am
gap?
always the last drop. So they write the music, and very often the music stays the same till the end. But sometimes when I put lyrics on it, and I'm like, Vidic, listen, what if? Can you guys play this one more time? Like, can this riff be doubled, or can we get rid of this intro and put it like in the end because I would like to put this verse here or something. So then we shape the song in the end based on how the vocals are. But but yes, the vocals are the last part. So they write separate from me. I write separate from them. I write lyrics all the time. Very often, my lyrics have ideas of melody already, and I put it there. Or sometimes I have an interesting melody idea without words, and I'm just gonna hum it like really loud on my vocal recorder, and just so it's there, you know. And sometimes I never use that. Sometimes I use that. You know, it's just like with the lyrics. I don't really use everything I write. So.
Yeah, I think it's always good to just file keep everything and then just, I mean, like it's actually similar to what Vedic said. It gets stored, but then it's not for sure that it'll be actually used in the album, but it's still good to keep it, you know, stored somewhere. So because every idea is a great idea. I mean, it's just a matter of how great is it, and whether you guys think it fits the overall album as a, you know, when it comes to the theme and the overall concept. So that, I mean, it may be straightforward, but then, I mean, it's been working for you guys, and then, so I mean, as long as it works, there's no right or wrong, you know.
Absolutely, that's what I think too. That's why I think that people that say they really want to be musicians and they don't know how, or they are not experienced enough, that's all bullshit. We find excuses. You know, we just find excuses for us not to do what we want to do. There are possibilities. There's no wrong or right, especially in this time. You know, like there's so much available online. You can literally sit down, watch a few YouTube videos, and learn how to do everything. You know, so yeah, this works for me. This works for Infected Rain so far. And yeah.
Okay, well, that's interesting to know. So then after you guys finish, like, you know, the composition, how then does recording work? So because obviously you are far away from the rest of the band.
Yeah.
So do you record the tracks?
Yeah. No, we record everything in Moldova while I'm there. I fly in for that all the time, and I try to be there a little bit in advance in order to either have time to rehearse it and make sure this is how I want it, or just to work with Vidic on it, and then we go to the studio and I record piece by piece. And very often during the recording, I would have some ideas about back vocals or something that will complement this chorus or this verse, or the boys will tell me, hey, what if you try the same but a little bit higher, so we will put it in the back, or what if you just you know, whisper this in here. So everybody has a saying, obviously, and we also trust our sound engineer that is recording all our albums so far, Eugene's brother Valentin. He knows us for years. Actually, we know him before Eugene was even in the band. So yeah, I feel like it helps a lot to work with a person that knows what you're capable of, knows you as a person, and it doesn't have problem to tell you, hey, you know what, like, I think you need a break, or you can do better, or I don't believe you.
Okay, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Hands down, that helped a lot, and hands down, he is like one of the best people we have in our music career as well.
And he's also your guitar for Vidic's guitar tech during tour?
He happens to be a guitar player, and he gives a lot of advices and stuff. Unfortunately, Valentin is a more busy guy, and he has a family. He cannot tour with us unless it's like strict necessity or like a emergency. He did help out a lot in emergency tours or shows. And yeah, we consult with him a lot, especially when it comes to guitars and the sound in general. But no, during the tours we have different technicians. So it all depends on the tour, and it depends if we are sharing the crew members with other bands or not. But yeah, our touring sound engineer is Simon, already for 3 years now. And but when it comes to recording, it's Valentin always.
I see. That's interesting. Well, it's good to always have like a family member on board. Like you said, it's more personal, and then they know you personally, and they know what you can do, whether they think, you know, your recording is at the maximum level that it can be, you know. So it's rather than getting someone who doesn't know you guys personally. I mean, it
Yeah.
still works, but then obviously there's that advantage if that person knows you personally, you know, because they know where your level is at, or they would know for sure. Maybe if you just push yourself a bit more, you can actually get this, and I know you can,
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah, and also not only, but also I feel free to sometimes like I I can't forget, like for example with the past album, while recording Tapiphobia, I was very nervous to record that song because in my opinion is the most emotional song I ever did in my life.
Mhm.
And it's a very personal, super depressing, painful theme. And while recording that, I was so afraid not to be able to deliver exactly what I wanted. And I remember even saying, Vidik was there and Valentin was there only. And I remember saying, I might need more time to record this one. I might need more tries. Please give me my time because this song is very important for me. All the songs are, but this one, I want to make sure I deliver exactly what I want. And so by working with people that you can afford that, and you can be like, I want no, this is not how it sounded in my head. I want to do it again and again and again and again, or I need a 5 minutes break or 30 minutes break, whatever, you know. So I can do that because I feel very free around my musicians.
Yeah, and then you don't feel intimidated. You don't feel like, oh, we hired this high profile guy and then
Yeah.
we're wasting his time, and does he feel comfortable or not? And then I think when you have someone who's so close, then all that pressure just goes out the window, and then you can really focus on
Yeah.
creating music, you know?
Yep.
And so you mentioned that, you know, you had like, you know, this song in specific, you had like a clear idea of how you wanted it to sound.
Mhm.
So this goes, I mean, this question goes to not just this song, but all the other songs as well. I asked Vidik the same question as well. At what point do you stop and say, okay, this is gonna be in the album? Because obviously improvements can be made. You
Oh
can
yeah.
spend years, you know. So at what point do you guys tell yourself this is where it's gonna stop and this is going to the album?
Yeah. Well, for me personally, as I said, I work on it myself first, and when I'm like happy with it, and it's eerie for me because we work for this with the same people all these years. I have an idea how it's going to sound already when it's all mastered and all done. Like I know it's never a mystery for me, you know, because as I said, I trust Vidik so much, I trust my band members so much, and I trust Valentin so much that I know that from this raw piece of whatever we created, it can you know bloom into something amazing because we will add to it this and that and the ideas. So I'm not worried about that as long as, for me, the point, the satisfactory point is, do I feel it? Do I believe in what I'm saying? Does it touch me? Do I have goosebumps? Yes, then it's ready. If
Ah,
not, I will work on it a little bit longer, you know?
okay. So in a sense that it brings us back to what you said earlier, when Vidik says, "Oh, I don't believe you." Is that what you meant? So
Oh,
you have to.
absolutely. You have to be authentic. You have to be true. There is so much fakeness in the world. There's so many people lying, wearing masks. If you're going to do that on the stage with the music, with the art, the world is going to just fucking disappear. I'm sorry, but this is my point of view on art. This is why metal is the best music in the world because it's the most real one, is the most authentic. And it doesn't matter if you think about flowers or devil or God or love or hate. It doesn't matter. In metal, you believe it, you feel it with the sound, with the riffs, with the bass, with the emotion, with the screams, with the singing. It doesn't matter. You feel it.
Yeah.
Even if the song is about fucking snowflakes. I'm sorry. sometimes I get frustrated.
Yeah.
Like, and I listen to so much music. I don't listen to only metal, but just in comparison with other genres, metal is, for me, in my opinion, the music genre that delivers the most emotions ever. So if I listen to a song of Infected Rain, even in raw version of it, and I can feel something, it means it's ready to be worked on. It means it's ready to go in the oven and in the studio.
Okay. Well, I think that's a very, very good point because that's a very interesting way of explaining it because obviously some people talk more technical terms like, oh, the levels have to be like that. There has to be 3 guitars. There has to be 5 pianos behind it, but from your point of view, it comes down to whether you believe what you're singing or not.
Absolutely. I have to say, doesn't matter how weird this sounds, but I'm a big fan of Infected Rain. I am. And I'm not saying that because it's my band. I'm saying that because when I listen to Infected Rain and when I sing the songs of Infected Rain on the stage, I still get goosebumps, although I listened to it 1,000 times and I sing it every day on a show. I have fucking goosebumps and I cry on the stage and because I feel it. And I feel that people can feel it. And that's the goal. So if I have songs like that, it means I succeed, in my opinion. In my little world, in my little understanding of music, I succeed. That's all I want. That's the best I can have is that.
Yeah, I think that's very nice to hear. Actually, you answered one of the questions that I wanted to ask. Is like, do you still cry on stage when you actually sing out the words you write? And I mean, obviously you do, and that obviously it adds to, not to say the showmanship, but it adds to the sincerity of the performance itself. It's a very sincere show, and I mean, all those emotions, people feel it when you cry, when you sing. People actually do feel that, and whether it's real or fake, people feel that as well. There are some shows that you say, oh, she's fucking acting,
Yeah,
and but then
absolutely. And even in metal, unfortunately, you can find that, but just it's a little bit more rare than in other genres. But I will be honest with you, it's getting better and better. As I said, I listen to so much music, and I have a lot of pop musicians that I love, older or newer ones. I have a lot of like rap musicians or electronic bands. It's really awesome. People started finally getting it and just being sincere. It's my motto in life in general, and that's why I don't have many friends. It's that sometimes I can be a little bit more too raw, I guess, because I don't like faking anything in life. So if I can avoid that, I will be silent. But if it's my turn to talk, or if I am expected to talk, I will be raw and real. So as I said, that's why very often I lose people, unfortunately. But it is what it is. It's better to have less people around you, but at least those people feel you, love you, want you in their life for the way you are, and not just to be next to you because of something they want back from you, whatever it is that you give them, or you do for them. So
yeah, well, it's about the quality and not the quantity, as they always say. But so it's very true. Well, I'm just actually looking at the time, and I mean, I've got all day for you, but then I didn't wanna, take up too much of your time. So,
we have time.
oh, that's great because I do have like 2 more questions in line, and then
Yeah.
so thank you so much for sharing all that, and I think it's whatever you shared is what I think your fans would find everything that you shared very valuable. And then to a certain extent, I believe that they after watching this interview, I bet they feel somehow closer and more connected to you. And with that, I find that, I call this, I mean, if they actually feel that way, I would say that this interview is a success, because ultimately the whole purpose is for them to get closer to you. I mean, no one cares who I am. I mean, the purpose of having this interview is so that your fans get a chance to know you even better on a personal level. So
trust me, people are gonna get curious to know who you are based on the questions you ask, because it's very boring sometimes to go through interviews, and I know that, and that's why the majority of interviews I do, I don't even share, because I was bored while doing them, and I was bored while watching them, because the questions are the same. They don't get too personal, and they don't get interesting. Sometimes you do interviews with people that they are not even sure who they are interviewing. And not that I consider myself any big person or any big star or famous or anything at all, but before, like, you come to an interview, at least you know the name of the person you come on.
yeah, imagine if they go like, yeah, we welcome this person today, her name is
I had an interviewer that was like, do you perform here today? I'm like, and we were headlining. I'm like, no, I just dance at the background.
Oh my goodness, that must have been awkward, but then funny at the same time.
I like to, I like to just laugh about it and be funny. I try not to be rude, but sometimes I'm like, do you really ask me this question? I'm so sorry, but do you really ask me this question? I can't believe you're asking me this question.
Oh my goodness, it must have been hilarious.
It happened a few times where I was like, if I could, I would just facepalm myself with both hands, and yeah. Trust me.
Well, I guess to a certain extent.
Because your questions are very interesting, and I believe people are going to be very curious to know more about you and to follow you. And, yeah, of course, you deserve a lot of attention, just like everybody else does. But, by being more unique and having this more unique approach, you definitely stand out. So thank you.
Thank you for your kind words. And like, yeah, well, I guess the whole purpose of doing this is not to really get more attention. It's to personally, like, it's not just because I mean, obviously you are one of my idols as well. And I'm not saying this because, you are one person I look up to. I'm just saying, I mean it when I say the people I choose to speak with, and, obviously I feel privileged that you guys want to talk to me as well. I mean, the whole purpose is to shed more light on people that I think deserve more attention, because the messages you guys send out is so strong, and I honestly feel that more people should know about, you guys. I mean, a lot of people know you guys already, but I do hope that, you guys one day, hopefully one day you don't have to be in a situation where people don't come up to you and like, are you playing tonight? Or hopefully we can avoid those kind of scenarios in the future.
That's okay.
Well, it happens. It will still happen no matter at what level you're at. So yeah, really appreciate your kind words. But so back to the remaining questions I have. So I think you briefly answered this question in the beginning, but I wanted to actually ask, so obviously we know what's happening with the world now with this whole corona, situation. What plans are you guys making, or are you guys still in the planning stage? Are you guys going to focus more on the next album, or are you guys going to try to push a tour and make sure it happens, or, do you guys have any plans?
Yeah, I know I mentioned already before, you are actually the first person to know that our United States tour is not going to happen, unfortunately. It was planned for April and May, so the timing is too tight, and even if this whole madness ends next week, it's still impossible to get visas in time and to actually swipe away the fear of getting infected or getting, I don't know, being around in crowded places, like even I feel like even people that already bought the tickets are going to be afraid for another month to go out and actually spend time in public. So unfortunately, we had to give that up, and we will announce that next week publicly together with the label and Swallow the Sun. Now, our summer tour is still going, and hopefully, again, as I said, even if this whole madness is going to end in a month or two, we are still pretty far from the summer. So hopefully that won't affect the summer days and the summer festivals. Other than that, we do have more plans for autumn. Actually, autumn is supposed to be really busy with 2 different tours that, again, I choose not to reveal for now because of the situation in the world. I just don't want to break hearts.
Yep.
Hopefully it's going to happen, but all I can tell you is we do have plans for the autumn. Now, obviously, by staying longer home, we are more encouraged to create more, to dedicate ourselves to more music and more art. Unfortunately, we are stuck a little bit, and we are far from each other. I'm in United States. My boys from the band are in Moldova. So we are spread at the moment, but thanks to internet and thanks to all this connection, we can still work together and still maybe come out with some interesting ideas. Our label is actually suggesting some cool things to do while stuck at home as well. So we are working on that. That's all I can tell you regarding Infected Rain. Regarding myself, I can tell you that I am very motivated to work on a few things that I always wanted to, but never had time. So I have a few projects that I do handmade, and hopefully I'll be able to, put them out there for an auction or just give them as gifts for people. I was working for the past 4 or 5 months. I was working on a lyric book, which is actually in the process of printing, but that process got stopped because of this situation. But it's a project that I've been working for so long, and it's almost done. I also always wanted to work on a memoir book, so I have more time to write about it a little bit. I'm not doing that alone. I'm working on that with my friend that is she's writing a lot, and she happens to be my best friend from childhood as well, so she knows me very close, so she helps me remember certain things from my past.
Nice.
So I work on that. Also, I have extra time to listen to more music and write more. So that's pretty much what's going on during this crisis.
Well, I guess like similar to everyone else, I think no one actually knows what's gonna happen. No one knows for sure. This could be it could be like that for the next year. It could be like that for just 1 month, like you said. But let's just hope, this situation gets better, and for the people who are infected to be to be on their way to recovery, and and we really hope that whoever's not infected, please stay home.
Stay home and get infected by our music.
Yes, exactly. Get infected the right way.
The right way.
The right way, not the bad way. Well, I'm sure all that information is enough to keep your fans on their toes. They're like, okay, we know something's happening. Let's hope it happens,
And you know what? I will use this opportunity to actually encourage everybody to join me on Patreon, because everybody on Patreon already knew this information, and you are the first person that is like not part of that world that actually gets to know that, and through you, I'm going to spread this information. But yeah, the majority of people on Patreon actually took part of it, and they are part of this lyric book, and they even help financially. And in return of that, I decided to explain certain lyrics for certain people, which is included in the book. So we have a lot of cool stuff going on, like Skype conversations, like personal chats, and I only share things that I don't share anywhere else on Patreon. And by being part of Patreon, you're not only getting to be closer to the artists you like, the artists get closer to you, because there's a person and a personality, an interesting personality in every and each one of you. So that's amazing. But also you could help in this like difficult times. You could help an artist, because we are basically cut off the world and we can't perform. We can't, we can't go in studios. We can't do what we are usually doing. So if you have the possibility to still support, to still be part of this, I will encourage you to do so, because a lot of artists need your help, even if it's small, even if it's just whatever it is that you can do for that artist, you're going to get rewarded. And the world that you get through Patreon is completely different than the world you get from other social media.
Mm-hmm. Well, to whoever who wants to see Lena Scissorhands do what she's doing and keep doing what she's doing, so, commit to her Patreon, support her Patreon, and because obviously, like you said, at this time, I mean, it's difficult for everyone, and it's actually even more difficult for musicians, as everyone would know. And in fact, I think some people don't understand how hard is it to actually make a living as a musician.
Yeah.
You see, all the fancy stuff, the nice photos, all the fame, but it is actually very, very difficult to make a living just by doing music. And
in normal days, but imagine during this crisis.
Exactly. It makes things even worse. So everyone out there who's watching, please commit to Lena's Patreon and support whatever she's doing. Even if she's folding her blanket, you need to support that as well. You need to say good job. Like
idea of how to fold my blankets in an interesting way, so people will find that interesting.
Exactly. And then like every morning they'll wake up and they'll be like, I fold my blanket the Elena way. Well, I hope people do subscribe, because I think you guys deserve all the help, and it would hurt, me, it would hurt the fans so much to see you guys not. If you guys aren't able to continue to do what you guys have been doing so far,
Thank you.
And so, well, to wrap things up, do you have any advice for anyone who's aspiring to have a music career like yourself, especially those who are looking at starting their musical journey as a vocalist? Do you have any advice for them?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking me that, because actually it's a question I get very often, either in my email or direct messages on Instagram. Now, to the majority of people I answer, it's not a secret that I'm a pretty open person, and I do answer my fans and supporters, especially if they are positive people and they are mentally stable. Trust me, sometimes I am like, seriously, block. Okay. All right, I do that very rare. You have to really deserve it, but sometimes, unfortunately, I have to do this, but that's a different story. Now, back to your question. Yeah, I know. Back to your question. I'm encouraging everybody that wants to be a musician, especially a vocalist, to just sit down and make sure that you have something to say. And if you are like, I have so much to say, I have so much to share, do it. Do it, because if you feel that you're honest with yourself and you're like, I need to say this, I have something to say, do it. Write it down, record it on your whatever you have handy in the house. Sooner or later you're going to use it. You're going to find sooner or later people that want to join you in the band or that think like you. And if you are already in a band and you're just starting, make sure, rule number 1, be authentic and be yourself. Only then you're going to find people that will follow and love you, because there's too much lie in this world. And everybody's tired of lies and fakeness. Everybody. So be authentic, be yourself, never give up, rehearse a lot, sing along, do covers if you want to. That helps a lot too. And just never, ever, ever give up. It doesn't matter if your parents don't support your choice of career. It doesn't matter if your friends don't see you succeeding in this type of career. It doesn't matter if this career won't bring you money. Because trust me, believe it or not, Infected Rain was not getting even 1 cent for 8 years. First 8 years of Infected Rain career was zero. Like first 4 years, first 4 years we only invested, so it was a minus all the time. And then we found a way and a solution in order to just not have a minus anymore. But we were never putting any money in our own pocket. We would just, everything would just go into this routine of creating and investing new instruments, new recording, new music videos. All that stuff is very expensive, and everybody knows that. Yeah. Only after 8 years, even more, of Infected Rain career, we started finally getting a little bit of money and being able to work less on our everyday jobs. That was very difficult to hold on to because we were touring so much. But still, we somehow managed to still have works and jobs and projects. And we started making a little bit of more money, so we have more time to dedicate to music. Now, at this point of Infected Rain career, we still are struggling very much, even in normal times. So don't be discouraged by that. Even famous bands have difficulties with money because they can't dedicate their life to a job because they tour so much. But touring is very rewarding, especially in certain countries. Other countries don't really go to shows. And so I encourage you to always be strong. It doesn't matter if you have one person at your show, 10 people at your show, 100 people of your show coming to see you, 1,000 or 55,000 people in front of you. Be yourself and do the same amazing show for one person, 10 people, 100 or so long. And that's because that one person that is going to be there for your show is going to love you and is going to always be there for you and is going to talk about you with other people. And this is how this works.
Wow, that's amazing piece of advice, and I think towards the end it became so touching, you know, like when you said that even that one person you would, I mean, sometimes people only aim for the big shows, and you know the smaller shows when there's like say 10 people, they perform in a different way. They're like, yeah, it's like
and
only 10.
That's the biggest mistake.
Yeah, yeah. Because yeah, I mean, a fan is a fan, you know, and
Correct.
and they shouldn't be treated any differently, and I absolutely agree. And back to what you said about, you know, speaking up, you know, like putting your words of what you want to say in your lyrics. And it's interesting that you say that because in this world, a lot of people like to talk, but not many people like to listen. So and that's why you find people interrupting each other's sentences before even one person makes their point, and they're like, no, you're like, you know, and then the conversation just goes to somewhere else, and you know the original topic is just lost, you know. So then your point about writing and saying what you have to say gives people an opportunity to talk without being interrupted. And so it's so important that you mentioned that, because you know we don't get many opportunities in life where we just get to talk and talk nonstop, you know.
Yeah, correct. So, you're very right, right, my friend. It's a good point of view.
Yeah, so well, thank you so much for sharing everything you've done. I mean, I can only apologize for, you know, how taking so long. I mean, I didn't expect, you know, to take up so much of your time. I mean, obviously, I'm happy. I'm happy, obviously, yeah. but I mean,
this is not gonna be boring for people, and they are gonna listen from the start till the end. And I think it's very interesting because of your interesting questions and the way this turned out to be more like a conversation and less like a interrogation. So thank you
Yeah.
very much. And you know what? Continue this. I believe you. You can have a very bright future if you continue doing this. And if you want to, I can suggest some friends and fellow musicians that would be very eager and curious to share their point of view on music, or if you want to talk to them, if you need any kind of help like that.
Oh, thank you so much. That would be amazing, and I really appreciate that. But well, I'm the type of person who likes to finish a job at a time, so I will finish this, and then we can talk about who we will
Okay,
be
yeah,
talking
and
to
that I
next. And
was just saying in general.
yeah, but thank you so much for that offer, and it means a lot. And I mean, obviously, to hear it from you as a person I respect, and so that's why it means a lot. So, well, thank you so much once again for your time, and I'm sure with your words and your advice, a lot of people will be even more inspired to, at least give music a try, and not find any excuses, because if there's a will, there's a way, So, and yeah, let's just hope people, get inspired a lot more after this interview. So thank you so much, Elena, and I really appreciate it. And we will see each other soon, I hope. I mean, I live in London. I mean, now I'm not in London, but then when I'm in London, it will be good to catch up. So
Yes, of course.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. You stay safe, and sending lots of love to you and your family.
Likewise, sending lots of love to your mom, especially because she is a nurse. So all the love, goes
Thank
out
you.
to
Thank you so much.
your family. All right. Do take care, and we will speak to each other soon. So, if you've enjoyed the chat today, all the links you need to find out more are below in the caption. And do follow us and subscribe. See you guys soon.